gas sector and the banks have emerged as significant actors, contributing billions of rupees to support causes ranging from education, health, poverty alleviation to climate resistance and skill development. Corporate philanthropy in Pakistan has yet to realize its full potential. And the report today was, in many ways, it was comforting, but we can also see the glass empty. We had a similar kind of data which was shared to us in the committee, and there, like parliamentarians had a lot to say on this data. The SCCP had to take a lot of, had to hear a lot from what the committee had to say. So there are two perspectives of looking at it, and while the listed companies and those who are contributing fully, and we were also told that there's some loss-making companies. I think that today, I don't know, when the awards are announced, there were some loss-making companies that were giving more than 1% in corporate social responsibility. But there were companies that were making huge, galloping profits, and they were nowhere to be found on the map of giving. So, so Pakistan really has to realize its full potential in corporate philanthropy yet. Perhaps the most fundamental issue is lack of institutionalization. Many companies approach philanthropy as an ad hoc activity rather than integrating it into their core business strategy. This results in fragmented efforts that fail to address systemic social challenges or create sustainable challenge. The regulatory environment presents another significant barrier. While tax incentives exist for corporate giving, they are often insufficient to motivate substantial philanthropy. The Minister is here with us, and I hope that today he'll make some announcements that create a structure for incentives that will actually double what we have here. The 24 billion can double if it is sort of linked with some kind of tax breaks for the corporate sector, and I think the corporate sector would really welcome spending on the people directly and then getting some tax breaks. So that is something that we also discussed in our committee when we were discussing my law. I'll just talk about that in a bit. So additionally, the absence of a comprehensive national CSR policy framework means that the corporate philanthropy lacks clear direction and alignment with the national development priorities. Public skepticism about corporate motives often diminish the social impact of philanthropic initiatives. When companies fail to communicate transparently about their giving or appear to prioritize publicity over genuine social benefit, they reinforce this skepticism. And another critical challenge lies in the capacity constraints of both corporations and their non-profit partners, or a disconnect between the two. Many companies lack the expertise to design and implement effective social programs, while numerous non-profit organizations struggle with governance, financial management, and impact measurement. And I think PCP can play a very important role in actually connecting the non-profit, the NPOs, with the corporate sector. Because if they don't, then the corporate sector, and many of these companies are family-owned, they'll create their family NPOs. And there's nothing wrong with creating the family NPOs, but I think that the general non-profit sector can really benefit from the corporate sector programming if these partnerships and systems are created. The other thing I want to point out is geographic disparities in corporate giving, which is another challenge. Corporate philanthropy tends to concentrate on urban centers where major businesses operate, neglecting rural areas. So it was these gaps that led me to prepare and present a private member's bill on aligning corporate governance, social responsibility, and strategic spendings. I was at an event like this 2 years ago where another organization was giving out these corporate awards, and I promised that I would actually work on a systemic way of aligning or streamlining corporate social responsibility, and I have presented a bill in the Parliament which the Minister, the Ministry of Finance has some comments on it, and the SECP, they're quite reluctant, and there are many, many things that we are debating. One of the main things that this bill says is that the CSR, I have presented a bill that says the CSR should be mandatory, it should be 1% after tax profits, but it should be mandatory. And the government, of course, disagrees. They're saying the investment climate and the businesses, reporting losses and so on, the overall economic climate is such that we should not have a mandatory system. And we counter argue, and the entire committee stands on the ideological side of CSR. And what is the ideological side of CSR? It is that when you make profits, part of the profits should go to the people of Pakistan directly, particularly those at whose behest the company is making profit. So there is this whole ideological thing behind it. I understand the government's concerns. We will probably come up with a middle of the road thing, but I often, the committee has argued with the government saying that, why not give tax breaks to, if there is an issue of losses for and not a good environment for the businesses, why not give them tax breaks? The taxes are phenomenal, and perhaps we should not get into this debate here, but I just wanted to apprise, because this is really a privileged group of people that I want to share the work that is going on in the Parliament. There are often complaints about what the Parliament is doing or not doing, and we are debating the CSR, so I thought I've taken the stage and the opportunity to talk about the law which is under debate. There are many, many interesting debates within that. If any of you are interested, we could actually also invite you to our dialogue. So finally, one of the things that was under a debate or in the law is the strategic part of giving out the money. So while philanthropy is really wide and there is this tradition of doling out money as rations, I think it's very important that the CSR is more strategic. And one of the things that I would strongly recommend as a chairperson of the Parliamentary Special Committee on Gender Mainstreaming is, of course, to focus on women in inclusion and so on. And finally, I'll just cut it short because I think I'm taking a long time. I was talking about social entrepreneurship, and also there's a point on technology which I'll skip. From the policy perspective, I think that the government must recognize the importance of fostering and enable environment for philanthropy. The point about lawmaking is fair, and I think I agree that we need to look at it and streamline the regulation and ensure that it's not duplicated. And I think I also want to suggest that the supply side of non-profit. Most non-profits, especially in the 90s, and many of us have experience of working in non-profit, we were always looking up to international donors to sustain the non-profits. Why has the government of Pakistan, both at the provincial and national level, not thought of catering to the supply side of non-profit? Why have they not made adequate funds available so that the non-profit can deliver social goods to the people, and they could do them in many ways, in better ways? So this is something that I think the government should think of. The other thing that we have not discussed is volunteerism, and volunteerism being the third indicator of the Global Giving Index. Volunteerism is something that in Pakistan is not regulated, not streamlined, not directed. It is there everywhere, but how are we really putting a structure to volunteerism? And that can really do a lot of good to the people of Pakistan if we streamline volunteerism. So finally, as we move forward, of course, Parliament, there's a lot we can talk about the Parliament. Oversight, we play the role of the oversight. Right now we're looking at this bill. And then post-legislative scrutiny. So if there is issue with the laws, if there are duplications, or if there is problems with registering for the NGOs, we can look at it in the committees. And finally, as we move forward, government, corporates and citizens alike must think of philanthropy not as an act of charity, but as an investment in human potential, but also in renewing, reaffirming and indeed strengthening the corporate culture itself. When companies integrate social responsibility into their business models, they are not just giving back, they are building forward. They are creating shared value that benefits both the communities and the corporations alike. Once again, I want to congratulate all the corporate leaders, and I want to thank the PCP for this very, very important initiative that they have taken, and I wish them the best of luck, and if they need Parliament in any way, I'm available both as an individual and of course on behalf of the Parliament or the committee, I'm available for any policy support or any policy input that you may want to raise. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable insights. May I now request the Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Mohammad Aurangzeb, Federal Minister for Finance and Revenue, to kindly come forward to present the Corporate Philanthropy Awards 2025. I would also like to request Mr. Zafar Rehan, Chairman, PCP Board of Directors, and Ms. Shazia Mahmood Amjad, Executive Director, PCP, to join the Chief Guest. Corporate Philanthropy Awards are based on a survey of public listed companies, public unlisted companies, and private limited companies under two categories of donations, by volume and as a percentage of profit before tax. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now be announcing the top 3 public listed companies by volume of donations. The first award goes to Oil and Gas Development Company. I would request Mr. Ahmed Hakla, MD and CEO, to please come on stage to receive the award.
सर जरा बैठ जाएंगे आप बहुत शुक्रिया सर
The second award goes to Mari Energies Limited, and I would request Mr. Asghar Naveed, Manager ESG and Sustainability, to come on stage and receive the award. The third award goes to Bank Al Falah Limited, and I would request Mr. Akmalan Khattak, Business Head, to please come on stage and receive the award. We shall now announce the top 3 public unlisted companies by volume of donations. The first award goes to Yunus Textile Mills Limited, and I would request Mr. Zulfikar Ali Khan, General Manager, Lucky Cement Office, to please come on stage and receive the award. The second award goes to Novatex Limited, and I would like to request Mr. Abdul Razak Diwan, Chairman, to please come on board on the stage and receive the award. Third award goes to Fast Cables Limited, and I would request Major General Ghulam Mustafa Qausar, Chairman, to please come on stage and receive the award. The third award goes to Fast Cables Limited, and we have Mr. Major General Ghulam Mustafa Qausar. We shall now announce the top 2 private limited companies by volume of donations. The first award goes to Barrett Hodgson Pakistan Private Limited, and I would request Mr. Rashid Bodla, Executive Director, to please come on stage and receive the award. The second award goes to US Denim Mills Private Limited, and I would request Muhammad Saqib, Manager Admin, to please come on stage and receive the award. We shall now announce the top 2 public listed companies for donation as a percentage of profit before tax. The first award goes to TSP Pumps Limited, and I would request Mr. Shaukat Rahman, Head of QHSE and Sustainability, to please come on stage and receive the award.